All eyes are on Hedera Hashgraph. Everybody is searching for the HBAR token. There's so much interest, yet in the last few days the price stopped rallying. What's going on? Let's have a look at on-chain metrics. Let's figure out what happens behind the price action. So here's Google Trends for the search term HBAR. This is a 5-year chart and we have seen a massive spike in interest. And that coincides with a massive spike in its total value locked as well. HBAR is its own blockchain, and of course there's money, there's tokens on the blockchain, and the value of all of those tokens is represented here. There's now more than 200 million of value locked in the HBAR ecosystem. A lot of that value though is the HBAR token itself and its derivatives. So let's measure this total value locked not in US dollars, but in HBAR tokens. Then we're getting this chart over here. Now what does this tell us? It shows that not necessarily on the blockchain we've suddenly seen more capital inflows or more usage of the DeFi platforms. We see that all of the total value locked increase, all of the value increase just happened because HBAR itself went up. It's not usage on chain, because measured in HBAR tokens the total value locked went down. Now this is not the first video on HBAR on this channel. I published one 2 days ago, and here's another sign of how popular HBAR now is. That video performed 4.4 times better than the average. The average video is here in gray. It's indicated with this gray area, and the HBAR Hedera Hashgraph performance is here in blue. And so 2 days ago we were at 35 cents, but now the price is at 30 cents. How is this possible when Bitcoin is hitting one all-time high after the next? Now let's have a look at the potential upside. Hedera Hashgraph has now a market cap of 11.7 billion. And even though we are going sideways in the last 2 days, this week we more than doubled. Most trading volume happens on centralized exchanges, so this is where the market making is done. This is where the actual price gets determined, and the trading is dominated by Binance with 16% of trading volume. We've also got Whitebit, which is a white labeled version of Binance, with 4%. So Binance owns roughly 20% of trading volume. On top of the spot market, we've also got the bets on the price, so that's the derivative futures market. That's what brings leverage into the market. And Toolbit is also a white labeled Binance. So over here we've got massive trading volume, 2.6 billion worth of trades. Now here's something very, very important. When you decide to buy any token, don't just search this on dexscreener.com. Search this on CoinGecko, on CoinMarketCap, or on a centralized exchange. Don't use a blockchain screener like dexscreener.com. Because when you do this, you might end up with a fake HBAR. Over here, this is a trending HBAR token, and it's up 133% in the last 24 hours. And this might look attractive. It's traded on Solana, but it's not the real Hedera Hashgraph. It's just a meme coin. And while the audit over here might not say anything problematic, when we go to dextools.io and we search for the DEX Tools score, we only get 69 out of 99. So there's way more risk with tokens like this, right? If you want to buy something that's worth billions and billions of dollars, and then you get into something with just a few $1,000s worth of liquidity, that's a totally different game. There is a real risk of getting rug pulled in tokens like this. Now let's go back to the real HBAR token, to the real Hedera Hashgraph. We've already looked at the total value locked measured in HBAR. Let's have a look at the activity on chain. So here we've got the number of account creations over time since 2022. That's the chart at the top, and at the bottom we see the transaction volume that gets moved. And we do not necessarily see long-term growth over here. It's a steady, constant flow of accounts and of transactions, but it does not necessarily justify a price rally like this. Over here we've got more short-term charts, again all transactions, all account creations, and on the right side all NFTs that get minted. What we see over here are more recent charts, so this is just the last year. Again, the number of transactions, the number of account creations, and the number of NFTs minted. So the NFT market is definitely not active at Hedera Hashgraph either. And nothing different over here, NFT transfers, token transfers, and token mint transactions. There is activity, but it's not necessarily growing. And so with any altcoin, we always want to get outperformance over just buying and holding Bitcoin, right? We take on more risk by buying an altcoin, thus that additional risk should get compensated. So what I like to look at is, I like to look at the price of an altcoin relative to the price of Bitcoin. Did we actually do better by owning the altcoin versus owning Bitcoin? And the answer is in this chart. This is HBAR relative to BTC. The chart starts in September of 2019, and even with that rally, we have seen HBAR underperform Bitcoin by 65%. And so yes, we have seen rallies like this before, right? 570% over here or 610% over here. Now we are up from bottom to the current price by 380%. Can we rally again? Possibly. Have we rallied much more before? Not necessarily. Usually we see some kind of consolidation after a rally like this. At least this is what happened historically. Now, instead of looking at the relative valuation to Bitcoin, we can also have a look at the relative valuation to Ethereum, because most altcoins tend to correlate more with Ethereum than they correlate with Bitcoin. In other words, when Ethereum goes up, then the altcoins are very likely going to go up as well, and vice versa. This connection between the two prices is higher for the altcoin versus ETH than it is for the altcoin versus Bitcoin. And that's shown over here in this table. So the numbers that are higher, that are closer to 1, tend to show more correlation. Those are correlation coefficients. And have a look at this first column over here. This is the correlation coefficient of Bitcoin versus various altcoins, and compare this with the numbers here versus Ethereum to those altcoins. It tends to be true that the number in the second column tends to be higher than the number in the first column. In other words, the altcoins tend to move more with the Ethereum price than they move with the Bitcoin price. And so this is then HBAR relative to Ethereum. And isn't that interesting? It seems like there's some kind of a lower highs trend going on. Also the lows tended to be lower. And yes, this is not perfect math, but still, it's interesting. A chart like this definitely does not instill confidence. Here's another interesting chart. We've looked at this already in the prior video. This is HBAR relative to the rest of all of crypto. So this is the HBAR dominance. So we look at the market cap of HBAR and we put this into relation to the market cap of all of crypto. And currently that's at 0.3%, and it is at an historical high. Now things are hyper bullish right now, right? Bitcoin continues to make one high after the next, and pretty much every altcoin is appreciating right now. It almost feels like, because there's so much correlation within crypto, that it doesn't really matter what we buy. What we see over here is the others dominance. So how much of all of crypto is in the altcoins that's not in the top 10 in terms of market cap. And that's growing very nicely, very steadily in the last days. And I see this in the statistics of this crypto channel as well. Nobody was interested in crypto just a few weeks ago, and suddenly we're spiking up in terms of attention again. And so yes, it's true that everything tends to go up, but there are still ways to outperform. So for example, over here, this is the Memecoin market, and in the last 7 days, AI16Z more than doubled. Yes, Bitcoin went up as well, but it definitely did not double. Now it's at a price of 43 cents. But the question is, how can we get into a token like AI16Z before it doubles? How can we find out about tokens like this early? And what I personally like to do is I like to follow other influencers. I like to follow insiders. I like to follow people that tend to move the markets, especially for those very small tokens. So have a look at this. Kyle Chessy bought AI16Z on the Jupiter exchange on Solana for 1.8 cents. And he didn't just buy once, he bought several times. Since then, the price went up by more than 2,000%. Now, who is Kyle Chessy? He's an influencer that tends to buy tokens very early, where of course not every single token makes these kinds of returns, but it's a bit like VC investing, right? You make 10 bets, you hope for 2 of those bets to make returns like this, and you're okay when the other 8 out of those 10 bets don't work out as well. So here we go, here is his channel. He's got 138,000 subscribers, and we track 12 of his wallets. So this is how wallet tracking works, right? You use on-chain analytics to find out who owns what wallet. And once you've got the wallet, you put this in a tracker. And then whenever this wallet makes a transaction, whenever this wallet buys or sells, we get an automatic notification. We are not just tracking Kyle Chessy, we also track Crypto Banter, for example. They've got 1.1 million subscribers. When they talk about a token, especially a small cap token, that token definitely goes up because there's a lot of attention on the token, right? Attention equals purchases, purchases equal a higher price. We've got 33 of Crypto Banter's wallets. And we're also tracking, for example, Alex Becker. He's got 1.5 million subscribers. We've got 12 of his wallets. And so really, I believe this is the way to beat the crypto market. It's to know more than most. It's not just to pick random tokens in a list, hope that they will make a 2-3x in this bull run. It's actually to be early. It's so early that most people don't know about this yet. I believe in this strategy so much that I made 8 dedicated tutorial videos just on wallet tracking. So how can we find influencer wallets? How can we track them? And how can we then also interpret the signals that we get from the tracking? It's all part of the premium membership of this channel. The link is down below, thebitcoinstrategy.com. Premium is not just about wallet tracking. It's also about backtesting. It's also about macro indicators. It's also about risk mitigation, portfolio diversification, etc. There's more than 100 tutorial videos in total in premium. And so yeah, people are very happy. Feel free to stop this video over here and read this feedback. The most important thing is, of course, once we have those kind of signals, that we also get some feedback from the rest of the community, right? That we discuss when should we buy, when should we sell, what are the current on-chain analytics. That's why I've got dedicated chats on the individual altcoins as well. So feel free to check it out. Feel free to invest some of the gains to make the portfolio grow even faster. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, just message me within the first week and I will refund you 100%. You really have zero risk. And so, is it a good time to buy HBAR right now? Is this the right time to get into Hedera Hashgraph? I believe the most important determinant for that decision is how much more upside potential is there. Because of course there's always risk in all of crypto, but if HBAR can't do another 5 or 10x, then maybe it's not necessarily the best choice if you're looking for those kinds of returns. Have a look at this here. This is a comparison of market caps in the DAG space. So Hedera Hashgraph is like Caspar, a DAG, and it's the largest of the DAGs. With this recent rally, HBAR actually flipped Caspar. Caspar did not perform that well in the last few weeks. Here's a comparison of all enterprise-focused blockchains. Here Hedera Hashgraph is at number 4. Is Bitcoin Cash really enterprise-focused? I'm not so sure. This is a list created by CoinMarketCap, where you can clearly see that there's not that much space anymore, right? There's XRP, that's roughly 10 times larger than HBAR, but Stellar is in a very similar realm. Will HBAR become bigger than XRP? Will it 10x from here? I am not so sure. The XRP community is very, very large. And there's also a nice ETF that's going to launch soon. At least there's an S1 filing for that. We can also be a bit more generous. We can have a look at all layer 1 tokens. And if we compare HBAR with something like Avalanche or Cardano or Solana, of course, there is still a lot of growth. But in order for that to happen, for HBAR to get into the realms of Solana and to do a 10x from here, we do need to see on-chain usage. Graphs like this, or like this, or like this, or like this will not cut it. Solana is currently the most active blockchain, and for HBAR to do a 10x, it needs to take that kind of position, right? It needs to be that much used. If you got some value out of this video, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you in the next video, or see you in premium. Cheers!